Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2101B, and today's date is February 19th, 2020, and the title of the episode is, We Are Close, Fear, Panic. The feeling of doom overtakes the deep state. Justice is coming. Now, before we get started, let's talk about protecting yourself. The recent breakout of the coronavirus is reminding everyone how easy things can turn from bad to worse. And one of the best things you can invest in for your protection when the lights go out is a 6-in-1 Fighter Flare flashlight. Charge your phone anywhere, anytime with the USB port. The Fighter Flare flashlight is the perfect addition to your prepping arsenal. Limited supplies last, and this is the very last chance to get 15% off the new 2020 model before they sell out. Please visit fighterflare.com and use the promo code X15 for 15% off. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians, they're feeling panic, they're feeling fear, they're feeling their doom, which is approaching. They understand that everything that they tried has completely failed. Trump and the Patriots, they have the upper hand. Justice is coming. And you can see the panic firsthand. It's not like you can't see it anymore. We said the attacks, the lashing out, is going to intensify as time goes on. And that is exactly what we are seeing right now. They're doing what they have always done before. They're coming up with their lists. They're saying all these people want someone to resign. All these people are against this. They're trying to make it seem like this is the public and this is what the public, the people, this is what they want. But it's their small group. But they're pushing it out there. And they use Hollywood. They use the mainstream media. They use it all to push it out there. And it's failing. It's failing big time. This is what Ned Price tweeted out. Breaking. More than 1,000 military veterans condemn President Trump's attacks on Vindman. They write, Vindman and all of his colleagues should know that we stand with them even when their commander-in-chief does not. For all of us, right still matters. Now, Red Pill Report responded to this. Now, remember, their list says 1,000 veterans. Well, Red Pill said, breaking. The other 18,999,000 military veterans support Trump and condemn the treachery and lies of Vindman. They appreciate finally having a commander-in-chief who puts the needs of veterans ahead of illegal aliens. They stand with the president. And Red Pill Report is absolutely right. The elite, the mainstream, and the corrupt politicians are in a deep panic. Something big is about to happen. And they're screaming very, very loudly. Remember, those who scream the loudest, they have the most to lose. Listen to Maxine Waters. This is what she tweeted out. It's not enough for Barr to resign. I want him out of the Department of Justice, disbarred, disgraced, and investigated for obstruction of justice. Barr sabotaged Mueller report, was in on the Ukraine plot, and now he wants to free Trump's criminal friends. In my estimation, they all belong in jail. Why is she so worried? Well, she's a corrupt politician. Why are they so worried about Barr? Because he's going to follow the rule of law. And everything that they're saying doesn't make sense. Because in the past, they agreed with the attorney generals how they are the wingmen of the president. So let's take a look at the Washington Post for today. William Barr has energetically played the role of presidential wingman, making it sound pretty bad. If we go back when Eric Holder was the attorney general, he said, I'm still the president's wingman. So back then, it was okay for the attorney general to be the wingman of the president, but today, it's a bad thing. Even Hollywood, they have gone out of their way. Now, remember, they're all part of the same system. And they're calling for the resignation of Attorney General Barr, demanding his immediate resignation in order to restore public confidence in the Department of Justice. Now, the stars include Alyssa Milano, Mark Ruffalo, Rosie O'Donnell, and John Leguizamo. and they're encouraging their social media followers to sign a petition that accuses Barr of misleading the public about the contents of the Mueller report and making false statements to Congress. Really? This is what they're doing. They really want to play this game. Remember, they're all controlled. They're all panicking. And their demands echo those of the Democratic presidential candidates, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and the rest. They all want Barr to resign. And the Washington Post is putting out a story that Barr is threatening to quit because of Trump's tweets. Now let's think about this for a sec. Trump brought Attorney General William Barr in, explained to him that he needs to look at corruption. He needs to investigate all of this. Barr knew what he was up against. So the Washington Post is trying to tell us that Bill Barr is threatening to quit if Trump tweets his opinions. They really want us to believe this? The bottom line is the president is doing absolutely nothing to impede Attorney General Barr from doing his job. Remember, our optics are very important. Remember Trump and Sessions, when Trump continually hammered at Sessions? Is Sessions upset? Is he upset today? Or are they buddy-buddy? It was all part of the plan. The same thing is happening right now. Barr is not going anywhere. And let's say he decides to quit. You think Trump is not going to bring someone in, maybe an acting attorney general? This will not end with Barr, no matter what they try to do. Now, very interestingly, Technofog tweeted out the following. The Washington Post reporters, Matt Zapp, pushing the Barr quitting story, is the same reporter who lied that the altered Carter Page FISA evidence, CIA Kleinsmith, didn't affect the validity of the FISA application. It did. And Technofog is absolutely right. These individuals are just making stuff up as they go along. So why is the mainstream media pushing so hard? Well, Praying Medic explains. The media's animosity toward AG Barr is easily explained. They were complicit in an illegal attempt to overthrow the government. 18 U.S. Code Section 2385 applies. Their outrage is a veil behind which they hide their fear of being prosecuted. So what is 18 U.S. Code Section 2385? Well, here's a portion of it. Whoever knowingly or willfully advocates, abets, advises, or teaches the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying the government of the United States or the government of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof, or the government of any political subdivision therein, by force or violence, or by the assassination of any officer of any such government, or whoever, with intent to cause the overthrow or destruction of such government, prints, publishes, edits, issues, circulates, sells, distributes, or publicly displays any written or printed matter advocating, advising, or teaching the duty, necessity, or desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying any government in the United States by force or violence, or attempts to do so, or whoever organizes or helps or attempts to organize any society, group, or assembly of persons who teach, advocate, or encourage the overthrow of destruction of such government by force or violence, or becomes, or is a member of, or affiliates with any such society, group, or assembly of persons, knowing the purposes thereof, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. Think about it. The mainstream media is part of all of this, and they are panicking. Then we have the story that came out of the Daily Beast, and a lot of the mainstream media publications are running it because this is what they do. They're trying to tell us that Trump offered to pardon Julian Assange if he agreed to cover up the involvement of Russia in hacking emails from the DNC committee, which were later published by WikiLeaks. So let's think about this for a second. Trump went ahead And he said, listen, Julian Assange, if you tell everyone that it wasn't the Russians who did it, I will pardon you. Wait a minute. Does that even make sense? Well, let's go back in time a little bit. Remember, the judge dismissed the DNC hacking lawsuit against Trump and WikiLeaks and Russia. A federal judge dismissed a lawsuit brought by the Democratic Party against Trump's campaign, which alleged a conspiracy with Russia to disrupt the 2016 presidential campaign because no one on the campaign was involved in stealing material from the DNC. In an 81-page opinion, U.S. District Judge John Coltell in New York said the actions by the Trump team, including specific individual names in the lawsuit, were protected by the First Amendment. WikiLeaks, which has also named in the lawsuit, was additionally determined to be protected by the First Amendment because the organization did not steal the documents. The whole thing was dropped because, guess what? They weren't involved in any of it, and the judge threw it out. So let's go back to post 1708. This is July 2018. And it says, what if the UK government worked hand in hand with the Hussein admin to sabotage the 2016 election? Data collection, voice, video bugging, creation of fake intel dossier using X-Spy, co-sponsor insurance policy, POTUS election, and then gave us P.S. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, No Name Clapper, Brendan Rice, Loretta Lynch, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Hussein, plus 22 more. What if Intel masked penetrations to frame Russia? CrowdStrike, servers, Seth Rich, Julian Assange. Why does the UK government desperately want Julian Assange? Think source files. The more you know. What's coming up very soon? His extradition trial. What are they doing right now? They're trying to get ahead of a story. Let's go to post 2322. This is October 3rd, 2018. Q gives us the Freedom of Information Act state.gov, which brings us to who? Clinton's emails. And this is from Marty Tory to Hillary Clinton. It says, H, been waiting to hear this great news. He must have made your life miserable. Simply a bad guy. So tired of people who try to damage the U.S., while the U.S. does so much for others. There is the justice and common sense these days. Hope all the current world madness somehow gives you the time to prepare for Christmas and enjoy the simple things. Took, and this is redacted, to pick out a Christmas tree last weekend. If there is better stuff than that, I don't know what it is. Anyway, hope the WikiLeaker gets what is coming to him. Happy Christmas preps. So under this, it says, by Marty Tory, the Mad Hatter. Then we go to 3341. This is May 2019. Is Julian Assange under protection? Q says, under protection. Threat is real. Key to DNC. The source, Hack 187. So the mainstream media is pushing fake news trying to get ahead of the story. Think about what they just said. Trump was going to give Assange a pardon if he said Russia didn't hack the DNC. The problem with this is that Assange already said this. He spoke to numerous reporters about this. This story has already failed. Take a listen to two different reporters that found or spoke to them and found out the information.
Went after Hillary.
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. Yeah, excuse me.
By the way, just FYI,
I got to take a WikiLeaks.
I spent 3 hours with Julian Assange on Saturday at the Ecuadorian Embassy in London.
Listen to this. Go ahead.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
But one of the things he did say is that the leaks were not from, they were not from the Russians. They were an internal source from the Hillary campaign or from somebody that knew Hillary, an enemy. He does not think they're from Russians. And he said Russia got credit for something WikiLeaks should have gotten credit for.
Staffer Seth Rich, who was murdered last summer. A federal investigator telling Fox News that an FBI forensic report of Rich's computer showed he made contact with WikiLeaks through a former reporter and London-based WikiLeaks director, Gavin McFadden. The investigator told Fox News Rich provided McFadden with more than 44,000 emails, nearly 18,000 attachments.
So as you can see, Julian Assange the entire time is saying it wasn't Russia. I spoke to Seth Rich. I got my information from Seth Rich. There was no Russian hacking. So why would Trump offer him a pardon to cover up the Russian hack when Julian Assange was always saying that? He wouldn't. The White House already responded. Stephanie Grisham slammed the accusations made by the lawyers of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. They just made this up. It's complete fabrication, a total lie. She said the president barely knows Dana Rohrabacher, other than he's an ex-congressman. He's never spoke to him on the subject or almost any subject. It is a complete fabrication and a total lie. Why do you think they're putting this out there? Because everything is about to drop. Remember the storm? Remember what's coming? We have the investigations that are going to be wrapping up, the D-class that is coming. Then enter Assange, enter Epstein, bring it all together. This is what they're panicking about. We're getting really close, and they're very, very worried. Fear is creeping in. They feel the doom of it all closing in on them, and they feel the light shining outward, and the light is shining on all the different players who are hiding in the dark, and there's nowhere to hide. They're screwed. And the Washington Post, they're trying everything. There was an opinion piece that says that the elites should have a bigger say in choosing the president. They never wanted true elections. They always wanted the elites to choose our leaders. Actually, it's been happening for quite a while. They fix the elections to make you think that you're actually voting for who you want. There really is no choice. They have choice A, they have choice B, they're exactly the same. When a candidate comes along that they really can't control, that's out of the box, that is out of their system, they attack this person. This person was Trump. They didn't want him in there. He wasn't part of the good old gang. And that's why they've been trying to get rid of him for so long right now. Now, very interestingly, everything that Mueller has done is falling apart. Yes, we still have Flynn. Yes, Manafort is in prison. We still have the case with Roger Stone. And there are very strange things that are happening with the Roger Stone case. I do believe when the D-class comes out and it shows that the FISAs were all illegal and the whole thing was illegally started because there was really nothing there, all of this is going to fall apart. But until we get to that point, the individuals are putting a lot of pressure on those people who are still trying to push these cases. For example, Judge Amy Berman Jackson. Now, we know that there were certain individuals that were not unbiased. They were biased. They were running for Congress. They didn't like Trump. And everyone's saying this should be redone. There should be a new trial. Judge Jackson said, absolutely not. We're going to stick with what we're doing, and we're going to sentence Roger Stone on Thursday. But what's very interesting about this is that once she sentences him, she's going to postpone the execution of that sentence until the issue around the request for a new trial is resolved. So why go through with the sentencing? Because she's following her part of the bargain when she was blackmailed. So Judge Amy Berman Jackson doesn't want to deal with and doesn't want the optics of the serious issues surrounding the activist jury foreperson, Tomika Hart. Prior to delivering her sentence, she completed her mission. She's off the hook. Then you can do whatever you want with the case. So she says afterwards, then we can look at a new trial. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Technofog tweeted out the following. Judge Amy Berman Jackson is now granting leave to file hysterical letters in support of sentencing Roger Stone. Letters that attack AG Barr with conspiracy theories, calling the U.S. an autocracy and banana republic with Putin laughing all the way. Shameful. Lee Zeldin tweeted out the following, and it kind of sums up everything right now. The more drained out the swamp gets, the more the swamp creatures act out in protest. And that is what we are watching right now. Now, I see all over the mainstream media, and there are many other people that are tweeting this. They're saying that Trump is abusing his pardon power. And Don Jr. wanted to set the record straight. So this is what he tweeted out. Total presidential pardons. Carter, 566. Reagan, 406. H.W. Bush, 77. Bill Clinton, 459. George W., 200. Obama, 1,927. Trump, 26. So Trump is abusing his power. And he says, please, by all means, educate me on abuse of power. Think about what they're trying to do here. And once you call them out on it, their whole argument falls apart. Now, we know that Trump commuted former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich's sentence. And Trump previously floated the idea of commuting Blagojevich's sentence, claiming the charges against him were very unfair. They were. Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch tweeted out something very interesting. Over 11 years ago, FBI interviewed Barack Obama about sale of his Senate seat. There's a FBI 302 report of interview. Rather than releasing document, Department of Justice has fought Judicial Watch tooth and nail to keep it a secret. The question is, why did they keep Rod's 302 a secret? What are they hiding? And I believe Trump commuted his sentence on purpose because, one, it was all the same players. It was all the same individuals that went after Trump, Mueller and team. And I believe that Trump is sending a message to the deep state. We know what you did to Rod. And guess what? He is now released. And he's going to tell the world exactly what was done. And he tweeted out the following. Rod did not sell the Senate seat. He served 8 years in prison, with many remaining. He paid a big price. Another Comey and gang deal. Thank you to Lisa Marie Booth, who really gets what's going on. And he's absolutely right. Because Rod was really hunting down criminal activity in government. And it seems that he might have found something and they went after him. Now, we know that Barr and team, they are now pushing the investigations and accelerating them. We heard the House hearings about the impeachment. We heard about Biden-Ukraine corruption. We heard it in the Senate. We heard Ukraine talk about it and how their investigations are going. And yesterday we talked about how the Department of Justice had designated to oversee all Ukraine-related investigations by federal prosecutors around the country. The Justice Department revealed that Richard Donahue, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, was assigned to the task by Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen. Now, Donahue will assist in coordinating several open matters being handled by different U.S. Attorney offices and department components that in some way potentially relate to Ukraine. So it looks like they're pushing this investigation forward. And they've already assigned people to look into everything. Remember, Ukraine on the other side is doing the same thing. Now, it seems that Durham has expanded his probe into special counsel's activities. Paul Sperry tweeted out the following. Durham has interviewed several of the FBI investigators who worked on Mueller's team during his 2017-2018 inquiry. further suggesting Durham's probe may be expanding in the activities of the special counsel's office. And I do believe that everything that the mainstream media, the deep state players, the corrupt politicians, everything that they're pushing out there, all this panic and fear lashing out, it's because something big is about to drop. Q has told us, expect the first shockwave. I do believe this first shockwave is going to set everything in motion. Once everything is in motion, nothing will stop what is coming. Nothing. And justice is coming. Now, we know that Trump and the Patriots, they've been finding out that there are certain individuals that have been speaking to other government individuals. Now, of course, without permission of the executive branch. Trump and the Patriots, they already knew that this was happening. They wanted this to come out. They wanted the public to learn about it. So they sat on it. They waited. They pushed information to get this information out there. And this is why we've come to know that Murphy was speaking to those individuals in Iran. We know that John Kerry was speaking to certain individuals in Iran. Tom Fitton tweeted out the following: that Yates, Mueller, FBI, Obama admin would suggest that Logan Act would apply to presidential transition shows the fundamental corruption of the Flynn prosecution. At real Donald Trump should pardon him, or will the Department of Justice will now also prosecute Kerry and Murphy? Trump responded to Tom Fitton and said, Kerry and Murphy illegally violated the Logan Act. This is why Iran is not making a deal. Must be dealt with strongly. And again, this is all happening to educate the people to understand what has been happening here. They've been working behind the scenes and telling other governments what to do and not to listen to Trump. They've been collecting this information. This is not by accident. Remember, FISA works both ways. They've been collecting this information on purpose. How do you prove a case? You let these individuals do what they do best. When they think like, oh, look, nobody's listening, nobody's watching, nobody knows anything. They're wrong. They've been recorded. They know what they've said. This is going to be used against them. They let these things happen on purpose until they move in for the kill. Because you don't just move in for the kill. This is how the deep state works. This is how propaganda works. You tell the news organization, listen, we're going to raid this home. You have them camp out there. They raid the home. There's really no evidence. There's nothing there. It was all for show. A real investigation is you collect the information. You act like nothing's happening. You do everything in stealth. In the background, what are you doing? You're recording them. You're observing them. You're following them. You're collecting data, information. You're putting the whole entire story together. You'll use this later on against these individuals when they try to deny it. That's what Trump and the Patriots have been doing. Let's get into post 3873. Q posted one post. This was yesterday. Gave us a YouTube link. And this is Ask the Q. And it's a montage of all these reporters about Q. And I do believe that the reporters will never ask the question. Or maybe I shouldn't say never. The reason why they won't ask the question is because then they would have to stop their whole entire conspiracy theory. Because once they ask the question and Trump gives the answer that yes, Q is real, every single story, every single thing that they've said turns out to be fake, phony, and false. The people then learn the truth that it is someone from the inside. It is not a conspiracy theory, that a lot of this must be true then. And what happens to the mainstream media? What happens to the deep state? This is why I think they're not going to ask. Now, there might be someone that's not part of CNN, MSNBC, and the rest that might ask this question. Maybe there's someone from Fox News. Maybe it's John Solomon. Maybe it's someone else. Because Trump, he keeps alluding to Q. He retweets Q. He gives hand gestures about Q. He points to the Q baby. He continually tries to push this. Now, eventually, we might have someone ask, but I don't think it's going to be from the mainstream media outlets that we think it's going to come from. Do I think Acosta? Do I think anyone in MSNBC or anywhere else is going to ask it? No. It might come from someplace else, but I don't think it's going to come from them. Because they know, and they've been instructed, not to ask. And this is why I think there was a question about Anonymous. It wasn't about QAnon. It was about Anonymous, the individual that wrote the New York Times op-ed. Trump alluded that he knew who this person was. He knows a lot of the leakers in there. He knows how the information gets out. And he knows who's doing what. He just put everyone on notice. And he let everyone know that he knows who Anonymous is, but he doesn't want to say anything. And I believe this had two agendas, or maybe multiple agendas, where he wanted everyone to know that he knows exactly what's going on. He knows the identity of these people. And I think he's hoping that someone will also ask him, well, if you know Anonymous, do you know QAnon? But no one has asked that question. Lee Zeldin tweeted out the following. There are high expectations that the Justice Department will very soon deliver transparency and accountability regarding the Department of Justice FBI officials who weaponize the awesome powers of their disposal in order to target the Trump campaign. Frustrated Americans demand justice. It's long overdue. Trump responded to Lee Zeldin. There must be justice. That's in all caps. This can never happen to a president or our country again. And I see this happening over and over. Trump is continually repeating the word justice over and over. And all this panic that we see, the fear that's going on right now, tells us that something big is about to drop very soon. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.